right. Well, we are here. And the Jets have lost, as you guys see on the bottom there, 27-12. It was it was a game, I guess. Right? People played. Some people played harder than others. Fitz, how you feeling?
Feeling concerned. Optimistic but concerned. I would make one edit to this little scroll bar down here. Jets coaching sucks. Joe Flacco sucks. I love Salah. I will stand by loving Salah. I think he is the right guy for the job. I love his just the motivation he brings in. I mean, he pumps the team up, but play calling on both sides of the ball. I don't know what the heck we're doing in this cover one defense that we've been doing, especially yesterday. And by the way, we didn't record yesterday because we were too sad. All right, so you're getting it Monday. We were upset yesterday. You're getting it. You're getting it Monday now. I don't understand it, Woody. When you go and have, if you look at some of these stats, I'm going to read off a couple things for us here to show that the Jets really don't suck. If you look at the stats in this game, you'd be like, no way it was 27-12. Time of possession, nearly identical, 2-minute advantage for the Bengals. If you look at total yards, 2-yard difference for the total yardage, Bengals over the Jets. If you look at passing yards, 9-yard advantage to the Bengals. If you look at the rushing yards, 7-yard advantage to the Jets. If you look at first downs, 20-19, they got one more first down than us. If you look at penalties, we had one less penalty than them, two very ugly ones that shouldn't have happened and were costly. But then we go and have 4 turnovers to their 1. That killed us. Our schemes killed us. Ulbrich and LaFleur need to make an adjustment. They got to do it quick. What do you think, Wood?
I mean, the ticker don't lie. The Jets coaching suck. Well, there are a lot of things. All right. First of all, for everybody who's shocked, hurt, right, about the loss, y'all should have seen it coming. I was telling you. I told you in the preview, the Jets were not going to win this game. Anybody thinking that they were going to score or that Joe Flacco was going to be responsible for 4 touchdown drives again was smoking la 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 la. The only thing I got to say about disappointment, honestly, a lot of it, and don't get me wrong, the offense, right, we didn't score a touchdown, right, so the offense was not good. But I was actually most disappointed in the defense. Where is this pass rush that we were hyping up? Michael Clemens, Carl Lawson, the dog. I mean, there's no bite. Carl Lawson has thus far been a disappointment. I'm saying that. That is what I'm going to say. This defensive line that is, so deep. All right. Joe Burrow got sacked 13 times in 2 games. 13 times. And in this game, we got to him twice, which is an abomination. And there were so many times where he had so much time, like just oodles and oodles of time, and the pocket's not even collapsing. It's just so bad. I liked the linebackers in the run game, right? Quincy. I'm so sad about Quincy's injury, but he made a lot of good plays in the backfield. Quan, stopped some runs in the backfield. Joe Mixon, right? Of course, because he's on my fantasy team, was the only Bengal that didn't have a great game because of these linebackers. Not great in coverage, but they were good in the run game. The safeties, there is no position on this roster that is less safe than safety. Jordan Whitehead is, I don't even want to see him ever again. I know LaMarcus Joyner has been getting all the flack or all the slack, but LaMarcus Joyner was never, great, right? He hasn't played in literally years. His last stop, he was a corner that now we're readjusting back to his safety position. There was we shouldn't have had high hopes for him. Jordan Whitehead, Darrelle Revis' cousin, young, was a championship. He has a ring from Tampa Bay. For him to be playing on this exact same level as LaMarcus Joyner is an abomination.
I don't know if it's that bad for him.
No.
Yes, he didn't wrap a tackle. He had a couple bad plays. Safety is definitely a position of concern because you got one guy who is good, who has made too many mistakes. He is still good. He's still giving us a lot of good play. It's not like he's coming out and everything he does is horrible like it is with Joyner. And I agree he needs to do better, but I don't think you never want to see him again. I will definitely see him again, and I will keep him on this team unless you want to bring in Ashton Davis. So at the end of the day, I agree he is underperforming. It's early in the season. I think we have scheme problems. I'm even starting to lighten up my hatred on Joyner. Maybe the scheme's not good. There's definitely bad play happening. We saw the missed tackle by Whitehead. That was horrible. Wrap and hit. You need to wrap. That's like every middle school football coach you've ever had. That this is a basic fundamental that he just completely botched and led to a 56-yard touchdown. I don't think it's that bad with Whitehead though. When it comes to the coaching, this is I'm going to obsess over this week. And where I'm optimistic is if you remember last year, the first 4 or 5 games or so of the season, Mike LaFleur could not figure it out. I mean, he could not. And I'm hoping that we have a similar transition from the offensive side and the defensive side as he had last year, where maybe they're coming in and they're saying, look, this is the game plan we're rolling out. This is our strategy going into this game. Let's give it a couple games before we go and say it's totally wrong. Maybe we could go and blame a little bit on execution. Maybe we could blame a little bit on, Flacco not being the right guy. He's the best we have apparently. But Mike White beat the Bengals last year. Cooper Rush beat the Bengals last week. Mitch Trubisky did it the week before. Why can't we do it? Flacco is a former Super Bowl winner. There is no reason why he cannot do enough to get us to win a game. So I completely disagree with that take that we had no shot to win this game. If we were properly prepared, Woody, if it was me and you coaching that team, we would be 2-1 at least right now. At least.
Well, I mean, look, Joe Flacco, 50 attempts a game. That is his average. He's about to shatter the record for most attempts in the NFL. Is he calling audibles, man? Like what's going on? There's no way. Like, I refuse to believe that this is a game plan. That every week they're preparing for Joe Flacco to throw 50 times. I just refuse to believe it. I don't believe it. And honestly, I liked a lot of the calls. I mean, there were a couple of box execution. Brees Hall could have had a TD. It looked like he was going to have a TD if he didn't drop that wheel route when he came out.
It was thrown behind him. It was a drop. But that was a horrible throw.
It was a bad throw. But I'm saying it was a good play call. Like I cannot get at LaFleur. Oldbrick, if he gets fired tomorrow, I will shed 0 tears. But I'll
shed tears of happiness. I will shed tears. I will run through the streets with Ulbrich, his head on a stick. I'll be running around. Give me that, please.
But LaFleur, no, that's still my man's. All right, he definitely has a great mind. The adjustments. That's what kind of worried me, is that it doesn't seem like they changed. Like, it doesn't look like, in halftime they're just like, hey, let's just do the same thing that we were doing, just harder, stronger. If you keep doing it, we'll finally find a way. And that has not been happening. But that script, those 10, 15 plays that they opened the game with, I actually like them. I like them. But yeah, Flacco has been inaccurate. And there have been some drops. Oh my gosh. Flacco is on a crusade. He's on a crusade to make sure that Zach has the least amount of weapons possible, throwing these hospital passes. He's trying to kill Garrett Wilson. He threw one for Brees, got Brees messed up. I really hope that this is the last Flacco game so that we can just, move forward and see what we have with Zach.
I agree, but we might be in a position, if this is the last game that Flacco plays this year and Zach plays every other game this year, we still may have Flacco have more attempts than Zach for the whole year with what we've been putting together, which is why I'm getting back to LaFleur. I love him. I really am a fan of his. He's put us in positions where teams are beating us. We're not getting down. We're not getting in the end zone. And there's nobody's fault beside, I think, Salah and LaFleur. It's not only LaFleur. Salah's obsession and just commitment to this plan of Joe Flacco being the quarterback. It's got to change. Like, I don't get it. He's not. The thing that bothers me the most is, sure, the offensive line struggled. I mean, McDermott mostly, but there was he's terrible. But so I understand that to an extent. You prepared all week for Flacco to be the guy. Okay. Mike White beat the Bengals last year, and the Jets were a less good team. Bengals probably are a less good team this year too, but we have improved as a team. Bengals possibly have declined a little bit. Like I said, Cooper Rush beat the Bengals last week. If you were to go and have a Madden view, like if you're playing, Madden, and you had the Madden view of the field, I don't think we even realize. I've been seeing all these clips coming out of receivers open left and right. I mean, our guys are getting open, but Flacco refuses to throw to the guys that have multiple yards of separation. Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, all three of them were open all day. But instead we go to throw to triple coverage to try to knock Braxton Berrios' head off. What the hell are we doing? And this is when you see performances like this is why I get upset when you have a game plan that has 50 attempts and you're still committed to Flacco. I just don't comprehend it. And, the good news is when Zach does come back, God willing, this coming Sunday, I think we're going to see a vast improvement. Assuming that Zach has taken steps, he's fully healthy, and he's prepared to go for his first week, I think we're going to see a vast improvement just considering how tremendous our wide receivers have been getting separation.
That is definitely the hope. I mean, just more mobility in the pocket, just, a better arm, all right, a quicker release.
Yep.
All those things I am expecting to happen with Zach. I mean, if you look at all of his peers, Trevor definitely looks better in there, and he had to learn a new playbook, right? Of all his peers, only Trey was the only one that has the exact same playbook from last year. Unfortunately, his game was in a monsoon. I mean, I know, Justin Fields also had the same conditions, but neither of them had good passing games. It was horrible. So Zach is really the only mold of this sophomore QB, same exact system, better weapons. So we got to hope. That that happens with the O-line. I mean, yes, McDermott is absolute trash. We all knew that. Max Mitchell has actually gotten better each game. And then, Tomlinson, he got some rust, I guess. I don't like the Fant slander. I've actually been seeing it. George Fant, he sucks. Now, don't get me wrong, right? He has traditionally been a backup that, got a chance to start and was incredible career year. Had knee surgery, he's clearly not been healthy. That's why he did not play for most of the game. Hopefully, honestly, and it sucks because McDermott sucks, but I would probably, if TJ Watt's not playing, I'll probably sit out Fant, rest up because we need you for the full season. Playing at 60% every week, right? That increases your chance for injury, for a long-term injury. If Fant is out for the rest of the season, you're out here moving, doing all this stuff. Are you serious? You're gonna risk Fant for the rest of the season instead of healing up? We need him we need the line. We can't have McDermott playing.
I don't disagree with that, but we also got to keep in mind this is our young quarterback's first game back. And if Fant is healthy, you play Fant.
But he's not healthy. That's what we're seeing.
Well, he's day-to-day is what Salah said. He's getting evaluated.
It doesn't matter what Salah is. Salah doesn't know anything. He literally there is nobody that I trust less with an injury report. I trust the Chargers doctor to give me an injection to my rib cage more than I trust anything that Salah has to say about anybody's injury timeline. The man does not know a damn thing.
He said it's getting evaluated. And you're right. I hear you, and I'm 100% with you on that. But what I'm saying is if he is healthy, not what Salah says, this is the latest thing that we know. He's still getting, I think he's getting evaluated probably today. If he is healthy, he needs to play. When you're bringing Zach back in, I don't care who's playing there. When you got McDermott as the one defending you, Woody, you're going to be getting to Zach. Like I don't like some of the blocks that he had where he literally go hits him and then he moved inside. He barely touched that guy. There was this one, I think it was one of the sacks where McDermott just gets up, gives him a light little touch, and then he goes and looks inside, and then the guy gets right behind him and gets to Flacco. That is terrible. And when it comes to Fant, I agree with you. I don't like the Fant slander. In addition to him not being 100%, there's also the component of over the last, few weeks, he's gone from being a left tackle to moving to right tackle and then going back to left tackle. When you're going, that footwork is something that it does take time, to get back and master again. I'm not worried about him, health permitting. From a talent standpoint, I'm not too worried about him. But there's some things that need to change with this team. And whether you have McDermott or Fant there, I understand the argument you're saying, but Zach's he's going to have open receivers next week. But, if we have anything like we've had the past couple of weeks, he's going to have to stay mobile, get to the outsides. And even without TJ Watt there, there's some concern. I don't want to leak into the Sunday preview, but as we're kind of talking about what the heck we've seen the past few weeks, this offensive line, it's porous. It's porous, and hopefully we can get these things figured out and use tight ends more. I want to see more tight end. If we've got McDermott struggling, give me Conklin, give me Uzoma over on that side, just in a blocking, scheme. And we did it a few times yesterday, but we need more of that.
Yeah, and this is, I feel like I keep flip-flopping with this, but as it stands right now, I'm less worried about the offense because the expectation is that Zach will come in, and we already know the guys are open. Yeah, there are some holes, there's pressure. It's really not as bad as, the 70-year-olds on Facebook would make you believe. But I think Zach will come in, even if he's that 6-week Zach who wasn't prolific but had no turnovers. We would win games because the yards after catch, Garrett Wilson is electric. All right, Corey Davis, that was a stat he used to lead in the Titans. He led the whole league that last year before coming to our horrific organization. Elijah Moore, right? Probably the best route runner on the team. I mean, there's just so much. Tyler Conklin has been a yak monster already in these three. When he's not fumbling, he's getting that yak. So I'm actually pretty comfortable with where the offense is, assuming that Zach takes over this week. The defense.
Terrible. And like you said with the edges, the edges aren't keeping the edge. There was that touchdown that Burrow had where he rolled out. It should have been a sack, but we didn't establish the edge. Everybody's running inside. And that's why I think our run game's doing pretty good is we're stuffing the box pretty well, but we're not keeping the edge.
Quinnen has been a star. It sucks that it might be time to get rid of this rotation because he only plays 50, 60 snaps a game. I don't know how many defensive tackle, star defensive tackles would be happy with that. And Quinnen, if we see in the footage, he wasn't happy. So I think that might be something worth noting is, hey, it is nice in theory to get everyone fresh, right, to switch it up. But if you're not getting, just how we said it was an advantage that the offensive lineman can't get a feel for, this person is doing this. All right, what is this person's move?
Mm-hmm.
Our linemen also can't get a rhythm because, they're not playing enough. So I think it might be time to get rid of that. Quinnen has been a stud. Quincy was good. I actually like the linebackers. The coverage is not great. CJ Mosley, I guess he's getting old. I mean, he's definitely in the right spot. He's leading our team in tackles, but in coverage, anything in the middle, I feel like I need to start streaming tight ends, like whichever, opposing tight end, like anybody who's going to be in the middle, slot receiver, I need to get them in fantasy. But, Quincy's a loss. Every edge rusher, I hate them. Besides Jacob Martin's been all right. He's been all right, for the expectation. But Carl Lawson, I'm disappointed in you.
I think there's good reason to be, and I think this also comes back to what do we have them assigned to? If you remember when we went and had what's his name went to the Giants,
Leonard Williams.
So Leonard Williams, if you remember back then, everybody was on the team was all saying he's doing exactly what he's being told to do. He's doing his assignment, but nothing. There was no anything tangible that you really saw when it comes to tackles for losses, sacks. I mean, it just wasn't happening. But the coaches were still singing his praises, saying, so who knows how much was that just trying to defend your player to the media versus maybe they just had a poor usage of him. I'm really struggling to understand, what the defensive strategy is. And when you go and look at how Quinnen responded, as well as DJ. Quinnen Williams obviously screams at, White Cotton? What was that guy's? That wasn't Ulbrich, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I think it was one of the
D-line coach. I think, something Cotton is in the last. I don't think it's Cotton.
And when you've got that kind of hostility where Quinnen's passionate and he's screaming, I love that. When you go and see DJ Reed at the end of the game, and he was imperfect himself. I love DJ Reed. I still will stand by him being a tremendous player on our team. A couple bad plays yesterday, but overall, not too bad. But when you go and had him going and saying in the locker room while he was getting interviewed, he was saying, we need to be better, the coaches and the players. So he called out the coaches too. And when was the last time we had a team that had enough swag, that had enough talent, that had enough balls really to go and say, guess what? It's not just on us. We don't feel like we're being coached correctly. When you had two players, and then Sauce Gardner came out and said something similar in the locker room too. I think the passion and the youth that comes that we have on this defense gives me confidence that this morning they talked about it where they went and said, hey, what happened? Why were you screaming at the defensive line coach? Hey, DJ Reed, why are you calling out the coaches in the locker room to a reporter? And they're going to have that conversation. And I hope that conversation gets that they build that bridge to go and talk about what is it that we're doing. You're not utilizing our talents to the best way. We need to have more people dropping back, rushing 7 men, on that one play, which got Quinnen all fired up. He's like, yo, let me do my thing. We don't need 7 people rushing. Drop these people back. They got 3 tremendous wide receivers with the Bengals. Like, you don't need to be, rushing that many. However, at the same time, we're not really getting to Burrow as much as we needed to either. So, Quinnen, I think, took it a little personally, but, we're not getting to him. We need to go and have the 4-man front more. Quinnen, I think, is absolutely right. They need to go and win those matches. But like you said, that rotation is horrible, and they need to get in the groove. They need to stay on the field. You need to have your best players in the field, just period.
Yeah, you do. And the entire predication of this scheme, I mean, they're still running the same scheme in San Fran where Salah came from, and they got the number 2 defense in the league. It really starts with that front 4 being a force and, kind of forcing bad throws to your receivers. To your corners. And we're just not seeing it. I mean, Quinnen, he did have one of the sacks, on Sunday. I think he's played. He has done his part. If there's anybody on that defense, he has done his part. DJ Reed, I feel like, is right up there. And Sauce, he broke up a couple plays on Jamar Chase. That 1-versus-1 matchup. I mean, we saw it. Then we also saw
he's legit, dude. He's legit. He's legit.
Yeah. And you said he was getting in Jamar's head, like he was talking the whole time. Like, no, Sauce is that dude. I love our corners. I love Quinnen. Safety is trash. Like, it's just so bad. It's just like that's what I'm nervous about the defense is that offense, diagnosis, Zach Wilson comes in, and then we go from there. Defense, there is no diagnosis. There is no safety that we can, get right now. I mean, I guess like you were saying before, maybe, best players on the field, changing up, make not the scheme, but at least like the play calling. Like Ulbrich might have to pass the reins, we might have to pass into the unemployment line. And Salah, like, you're a defensive mind. I'm tired of people coming in with a specialty and not being great at the specialty. It's Adam Gase all over again. And people did call out Adam Gase for, what he was doing. Jamal Adams was definitely all over that as well. So before it devolves into something like that, where like the locker room is lost, that's like kind of the issue, is that now your team isn't just a whole bunch of, random ragtag guys. Now these are people that are accustomed to winning. Laken Tomlinson just played in the NFC Championship. Like, these are guys that are accustomed to winning. So I don't know if they can endure another 3-win season, especially if this is the manner of the loss. There was no point in this game where it was competitive.
And you're right. And I think just to kind of zoom out a minute, because I think there's a lot of things with this team that we're disappointed about. But just to zoom out, for us to be 1-2 with our backup quarterback pushing 40, who's throwing the ball 50 times a game for some reason, to be 1-2 and get out of that. Hopefully, God willing, Zach's not 100% confirmed for Sunday just yet, but it's seeming pretty likely. Again, it was Salah telling us, so it's probably not true. But at the end of the day, I mean, 1-2 is not bad, but there's so much doubt about this coaching staff when it comes to our coordinators. With Salah, like I said, the decision with just blindly following Flacco, I don't comprehend. But this defense coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, I've got a lot of bones to pick with him. I've got a lot of bones to pick with LaFleur as well. I mean, I like LaFleur too. I know you defended a minute ago. I'm not seeing audibles. I'm not seeing audibles on the field. I understand if you get behind, your game plan is going to have to change, and I understand that, and that's going to maybe have you throw the ball a little bit more often. But like you said, to be averaging 50 attempts with this guy 3 straight games, I don't think there's any excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. Only running the ball. I mean, I think it's 2.5 times more often we're throwing the ball than running the ball. Like, we were all so excited about this running back duo. AVT has tremendous run blocking grades consistently week after week. He's number 1 in the league, top 3. And it's like, shove the ball behind AVT. Like, why is this so hard? Like, again, I'm a LaFleur fan. I think he's going to make the adjustments and figure this out, but it's taken too long for this team to learn. And I think what made him great last year was he was making adjustments on the fly, and he was making, figuring things out to help us win a couple games. This year, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing one guy obsessed with one game plan, and I'm seeing a lot of words of stubborn on Twitter. Everybody's calling the coach is stubborn. I agree. I think they're so set in their ways that they're unwilling to go and make these adjustments through the games. And, I understand trial and error is going to take a couple games before you know for sure if something's working or if it's not. So hopefully maybe they're trying to be creative with some things, not really expecting to win many games with Flacco, just to see like, hey, what can we try to do with Zach? I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting close to the end of my patience with both coordinators. Cooper Rush and Mitch Trubisky beat the Bengals. We couldn't score a single touchdown. Greg Zuerlein looked great.
He did. He was balling. He was balling. Since that one game where, he missed, the field goal, whatever, he's been perfect.
He's been great.
He's literally tied the all-time franchise record for a field goal last week to get the win. And then, of course, anybody who had him in fantasy, no one played him. He was probably on the waiver in 100% of leagues, but killed it. He killed it this week. I think he had 2 different 50-yarders, at least one. I know he had at least one.
50 and 52, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So there it is. So Zuerlein was doing work. I still got faith in LaFleur. The yards per carry this week weren't good. I mean, the Bengals are a good run defense, right? Like they have been for the last couple of years. And it kind of showed. I mean, definitely, they could have thrown screens. I mean, Brees, both of them actually, with the ball in their hands, I mean, they're so hard to get down. So, yeah, we could have done that a little bit more. But again, I think, there are so many big plays. And when you look at, the floor in the booth and you see Garrett open, you see Corey open as often as they were by the yardage that they were, maybe he's like, all right, you know what? We're going to call this. They're going to get open again, and Joe will finally see. And that is stubborn. That would be stubborn, right? To just, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. But when it's so blisteringly obvious, I don't know.
That's good defense for him, actually. That's actually really good defense because at the end of the day, the calls he was – but it's also like, all right, you're calling plays. It's getting your receivers open. Is it you calling this miraculous post pattern? Or is it because you've got some tremendous route runners who are quick, nifty, and are cracking ankles, on the defenders? But either way, like we're saying, stubbornness. If you are calling plays, even if your receivers are getting open, but your quarterback is consistently not even looking at them, let alone hitting them, you got to change it up. You got to see what's not working here, and it's not, or the receivers getting open. It is, can our quarterback find them? And that's what makes me so upset. And like you said, when you got Breece Hall and you've got Michael Carter there, those are two special kids, man. You get the ball in their hands, and they are firecrackers, man. They're fun. So it's just really disappointing not to see more opportunities for them because, who knows what else they could have done if they had some more touches. Breece Hall did get a good amount of screen opportunities. So when we're talking about Flacco total attempts, it's an attempt to throw, but screen passes, that bites into the total real dropbacks that he's looking, to throw downfield for. But, this team is really, for the most part, minus safety and minus ability to get into the backfield for our defensive line. I really like this team a lot. And McDermott. Screw McDermott. But the other ones I'm going to name positions. I'm saying his name. But besides those things, there's a lot of talent, man. And I'm going to say this week after week after week, how just consistently frustrated I am that there's talent and there's no execution. 4 turnovers, that kills you. And that also throws your game plan off. So, again, a little bit of forgiveness for LaFleur there. But that was an ugly one just because I really did think we could do it. Like I said, Cooper Rush, Mitch Trubisky did it. Mike White did it. If we came prepared, I really think we could have won that game. But we just didn't seem to be prepared. And that's what makes me upset.
I already told you. No team wanted to win any game more than the Bengals. I mean, right now the Raiders are the only team in the entire NFL that are 0-3.
How crazy is it?
The Bengals were not trying to be there. They were not, okay, especially against this team that embarrassed them. I can't say it because I didn't say it before the game, but in my mind, there was no way that they were losing this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I was expecting more competitive, and that's what we keep saying. More competitive, more competitive, more competitive. I'll say one thing. This will be my last 2 cents, and this is because I do like the team, right? And like you said, other than safety, getting to the backfield, Connor McDermott, all those are valid. Tight ends, we might be spending a little bit too much money, from what we're seeing. I'll throw that in there too, but.
CJ Uzoma redemption game. That never came, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So last year we got smacked, literally smacked so bad by the Patriots. And the next week, with our backup, we beat the Bengals. It was an upset. We won by 3. And then we proceeded to lose the next 3 games by 16.3 points per game. Just ugly. And the last thing I said in the Wudi 3 was that if we're trying to prove that we're not the same old Jets, right? We got smacked week 1, then got a fluke week 2 win against an AFC North team. We beat them by 1. The best way to prove we're not the same old Jets is to not lose the next 3 games by 16.3 points per game. And here we are, the first game, we lost by 15.
Yep.
Looking pretty similar. It's looking very similar. So hopefully these guys can get on the same page. I mean, definitely, miscommunication, penalties, that JFM penalty. I mean, I would have kicked him in the nuts. I would need him, to play for the next series. So I can't break an ankle or something like that. I would kick him.
Give me a little shock, knock the wind out of him. Well, that one was boneheaded, but it was definitely a penalty and it was definitely stupid. But he didn't hit him that. He barely pushed him. It was after the ball was out. It wasn't that bad. He
literally pushed him and then went on him. If he pushed him and didn't go down, then it would have been fine. But he literally, I'm a pro wrestling fan. I mean, that was a classic frog splash right there that he just hit him. No,
the ball was out. When you go and watch it, it's this is where.
What do you mean? That makes it worse. If he has the ball,
but that's what I'm saying. No, that's my point. That's what I'm saying. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying, when you're running full speed at a guy trying to knock his head off, and then he gets a quick release, gets the ball out. He saw it come out. He should not have put his hands on him. Boneheaded play, 100%. Just wasn't that. It wasn't super aggressive, I guess is more my point. But it was so impactful to hurt us in the position we were there. Corey Davis is one, grabbing the face mask of that the defender in the end zone. It's boneheaded stuff. And this team's frustrated. They want to win. They're hungry. They're getting mean, which I like. But, like we were saying, the penalties have not been good. And it's not even just false start here and there. Those add up. I don't want that any more than anybody else. But, that's a mistake that, maybe you could work on and fix as well as these boneheaded ones. But those are just unnecessary ones that there's no reason for. The play's over. Corey Davis, the ball was thrown nowhere near him. And you just go and see him grabbing the guy's head. It's come on, man. Bad coaching, bad execution, boneheads. The New York Boneheads.
Well, that is it. That is Take Flight Talk. I hope you've enjoyed our flight. I know we didn't. This the complimentary penalties. Forget about the complimentary peanuts. It's complimentary penalties by this team, but it's all good. All right, you'll see us on Thursday. I don't even know what we're doing. I think we're doing an episode. We're taking flight, but then we'll also be on the Everything NYJ with our boy, the Italy Jet. All right, you guys saw him last week, so we keeping that collab alive. Okay, so yeah, let us know. Hit us up, IG at take_flight_talk. DM us if you're trying to take flight with us. All right. And let's go Jets.
Jet up, baby.